Ladies, can I be honest with you? There are very few moments in life more electrifying than when you just know a man wants you. You feel it in his eyes, in the way his voice drops half an octave, in that slight pause when he looks at you just a little too long. But here's the thing. Most men will never come right out and say, I want to sleep with you. Why? Because that's too blunt, too risky, too easy for you to shut down. Instead, men communicate desire in coded language. They don't hand you a neon sign that says, take me to bed. They hand you little breadcrumbs, phrases, invitations, suggestions that lead in exactly that direction. And unless you know how to decode them, you'll either miss the signal completely or worse, you'll misinterpret it as something deeper than it is. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Matthew, aren't words just words? Can't a guy just say something sweet without it meaning he wants sex? Of course, some men are genuine, thoughtful, and intentional. But what I'm talking about here isn't about men who are looking for love, commitment, or marriage proposals. It's about the guy whose main agenda in that moment is to get you into his bed. And make no mistake, he'll tell you exactly what he wants, just not in the way you expect. Here's why this is so important for you to know. When you can recognize the language of desire, you stop being the one who's confused. You stop second guessing whether he likes you for you or whether he just likes the idea of you for one night. That awareness gives you the power back. You get to choose without guilt, without confusion, what you want to do with that information. So in this talk, I'm going to reveal the 5 things a man will say when he wants to sleep with you. Some of them sound innocent, some sound romantic, some even sound downright sweet. But once you hear them with this new awareness, you'll see them for what they really are, invitations wrapped in charm. And ladies, here's the sexy part. Once you know this game, you're not the one being played. You're the one in control. Ready? Let's dive in. Now, ladies, let's be real. Out of all the things a man might say when he wants to sleep with you, this one right here is the gold standard. It's short, it's casual, it's innocent on the surface, but beneath that casual tone, it's loaded. Think about the context. Men don't invite you over at midnight to admire the IK furniture they just assembled. They don't say you should come over because they suddenly remembered a bottle of wine they want to share, or because they desperately need a second opinion on their Netflix queue. No, when he says, you should come over, what he's really saying is, I want you in my space right now, and I don't just mean on the couch. And here's the trick, the genius of this phrase is in its simplicity. It's not aggressive, it's not pushy, it's not even obviously sexual. It gives you plausible deniability. If you call him out, oh, you're just trying to get me into bed, aren't you? He can laugh and say, no, I just thought we could hang out. But deep down, you and I both know what that invitation means. Now, why does this line work so well? Because it puts the ball in your court. It's an invitation, not a demand. He's essentially saying the door is open, the option is there. And if you accept, you know where this is heading. It's seductive precisely because it's subtle. He doesn't have to spell it out. The subtext does all the heavy lifting. But here's where you, as a woman, need to be smart when he says this matters. If you've been on 3 proper dates, dinners, long walks, conversations that go beyond surface level flirting, and then he says, you should come over. Maybe it's a natural next step. He's been patient, he's invested, and now he's ready to take things further. But if he says this after 1 drink at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, having put 0 effort into actually getting to know you, that's not romance, that's convenience. He's not inviting you. He's inviting anyone who will fill that role in the moment. That's not desire rooted in you. It's desire rooted in what's easy. And ladies, you deserve more than easy. Another thing to notice, the timing of the invitation. A 7 p.m. you should come over. Sounds like dinner, conversation, maybe a movie, maybe something more. And 11:45 p.m. you should come over text. That's not a date, that's a booty call. Same words, completely different intention. Context is everything. Now, here's the empowering part. There is nothing wrong with him wanting you. Desire is natural, healthy, even exciting. The problem only comes when you confuse desire for your body with interest in your soul. That's where women sometimes get tripped up. They hear you should come over and interpret it as wants me in his life. But no, my love, it often just means he wants you in his bed. So when you hear this line, don't panic, don't overthink, and don't automatically say yes or no. Just pause and ask yourself, what do I want? If you want a fun night, own that decision on your terms. If you want a relationship, then see this for what it is, a man testing the waters to see how quickly he can move things forward. And if his pace doesn't match your standards, you simply smile, decline politely, and remember, your value isn't determined by how quickly you accept an invitation. The bottom line, you should come over, is one of the clearest signs that he wants you physically. It's subtle, it's seductive, but it's also a test. And the beauty is, you get to decide how that story ends, because while he may invite you, choose whether you RSVP out. Ladies, this one is deliciously sneaky. When a man says, we don't have to do anything, you'd think he's being noble, right? He's being respectful, considerate. The gentleman who's saying, relax, I'm not putting pressure on you. And yes, on the surface, that's exactly what it sounds like. But underneath, this is one of the sexiest little tricks in the book. Because when a man says, we don't have to do anything, what he's really doing is planting a seed. He's giving you the illusion of safety, the illusion of no expectations, while secretly hoping the exact opposite will happen. Think about it. If a guy truly had zero desire, would he need to reassure you? No. The fact that he's saying it at all tells you he absolutely does want something to happen. It's like him standing in front of a plate of chocolate cake and saying, I'm not going to eat this. Sure, maybe he won't, but the only reason he's mentioning it is because he's thinking about it. Now, here's why this line is so clever, it lowers your defenses. Men know that women don't like to feel pressured, so he wraps his desire in this comforting little package of no expectations. He's basically saying, hey, you can trust me, but just in case you don't, know that the option is always there. And that option is what he's counting on. Let's break this down with two scenarios. Scenario Wensing, you've gone out on a date, had a few drinks, and as he's dropping you home, he says, want to come inside. We don't have to do anything. Translation, I desperately hope we will, but I'm going to act like I'm okay if we don't. It's his way of sliding the invitation past your radar without sounding pushy. Scenario Twender, you're already at his place, maybe sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Things are getting a little flirty, the energy is building, and then he says softly, don't worry, we don't have to do anything. What's happening here? He's priming you. He's letting you know that if you do want something to happen, he's ready, but he doesn't want to scare you off by being too forward. It's seductive because it creates space. It makes you feel like you're the one making the decision, even though he has already made his intention very clear. But here's where I want you to be sharp. Don't confuse gentle seduction with genuine patience. A man who truly respects your pace doesn't need to emphasize, we don't have to do anything. His actions already prove it. He's willing to invest, to wait, to enjoy the process of getting to know you without rushing intimacy. The man who uses this line, he's often signaling that his patience has an expiry date. Now, let's be fair, not every guy who says this is manipulative. Sometimes it really is about reassurance. Sometimes he senses you're nervous and he wants you to feel comfortable. But here's the real test. What does he do after he says it? Does he lean back, give you space, and actually mean it? Or does he keep inching closer, letting his hands wander, hoping you'll take the bait? His follow-through will tell you everything. So what do you do when you hear this? You pause. You remember desire is natural, but pressure, even disguised as reassurance, is not sexy. You don't owe him anything because he promised you don't have to. You're in control. If you want to take that step, fantastic. Do it on your terms. If you don't, then hold that boundary and notice how he reacts. A man who respects you will stay. A man who doesn't will vanish. And honestly, that's the best filter you could ever ask for. Bottom line, we don't have to do anything is less about what he's saying and more about what he's hoping. It's a coded invitation disguised as comfort. Hear it, smile, and remember, you're the one who decides whether nothing becomes something. Now, ladies, this one sounds romantic, doesn't it? Out of all the lines men use, I just want to be close to you, is probably the most disarming. It doesn't sound like seduction, it sounds like intimacy. It doesn't sound like lust, it sounds like affection. And that's why it's so effective. When a man says this, what he's really doing is blurring the line between emotional closeness and physical closeness. He's using words that touch your heart, but his intention, at least in that moment, is to touch your body. It's not that he doesn't care about you, but let's be honest, I want to be close to you. In the heat of the night is rarely about long-term connection. It's about the here and now. Here's the thing men understand on some level, that women are not turned on by physicality alone. For women, intimacy is so much more than skin to skin. It's about feeling safe, cherished, desired in a deeper way. So when he says, I just want to be close to you, he's speaking in a language that resonates emotionally while also pointing to what he wants physically. Let's decode this in real life situations. Scenario 1, teen, you're cuddling on the couch, maybe after a date, and things are starting to feel warm. He leans in, looks into your eyes and says, I just want to be close to you. Translation, I want to take this further, but I don't want to scare you by being too obvious. He's softening the approach, making it sound tender so that you're more likely to let your guard down. Scenario 2i, you're saying good night outside your apartment and he doesn't want the evening to end. He holds you, whispers, I just want to be close to you. Now, in this context, it's an invitation. What he's really saying is, let's not separate yet. Let's extend this night in a more intimate way. It's less about proximity and more about access. But here's the danger. This line can feel like love. It can feel like connection. And for women who crave deeper intimacy, it's easy to mistake this phrase as a promise. But remember this, words like these are only as real as the actions that follow them. If he says, I just want to be close to you, but disappears the next day, that wasn't closeness, that was lust wrapped in poetry. Now, does that mean every man who says this is lying? Not at all. Some men genuinely mean it. They do want to feel your presence, your touch, your warmth without necessarily rushing into sex. But here's the test. Does he still want to be close to you when physical intimacy isn't on the table? Does he want closeness when you're sick, stressed, or unavailable? Or is closeness only convenient when it leads to the bedroom? Ladies, your job isn't to overanalyze every word. Your job is to step back and look at the pattern. Does he invest in getting to know you outside of physical moments? Does he show up consistently? Call, plan, make effort. Because if not, then I just want to be close to you is nothing more than a velvet cover for a very singular intention. The beauty here is this, you get to redefine closeness. True closeness is not just about how tightly he holds you in the dark, it's about how openly he holds you in the light of day. So when you hear this line, enjoy the sweetness, but don't confuse the music with the meaning. The real closeness isn't in his words, it's in his actions. I just want to be close to you is often a man's way of saying, I want you physically. Right now, it's seductive, it's tender, but it's also a test. And you, my love, get to decide whether his version of closeness matches yours. If there's one line that makes hearts race and butterflies flutter, it's this one, I can't stop thinking about you. It's poetic, it's flattering, it makes you feel unforgettable. And let's be honest, when you hear those words, you immediately picture him lying awake at night, replaying every detail of your last date, obsessing over your smile, your laugh, the way you made him feel. But here's the twist. When a man says, I can't stop thinking about you, it doesn't always mean he's falling in love. Sometimes it means he's caught in a loop of desire. He's thinking about you, yes, but maybe not about your dreams, your personality, or your life goals. He might be thinking about the way your dress hugged your body, the spark in your kiss, or the electricity he felt sitting next to you. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with desire. Desire is natural, healthy, exciting. But as women, the danger lies in confusing desire for devotion. One is about how you make him feel in the moment. The other is about how much he wants to build with you long term. Here's why this line is so powerful. It makes you feel special. When a man tells you he can't get you out of his head, it validates you. It gives you a rush of significance, like you've left a mark on him that no other woman has, and maybe you have. But ask yourself this, is he thinking about you, or is he thinking about the experience of you? Let's break it down with examples. Scenario 1 scene, you've only been on 1 or 2 dates, and suddenly you get a late night text, I can't stop thinking about you. That feels big, right? But in reality, it's more likely his way of expressing sexual attraction than emotional depth. He's thinking about the chemistry, the tension, the potential of what could happen next time you're alone. Scenario 2a, you've been dating for a while. You've built a genuine connection, and he looks at you during a quiet dinner and says, I can't stop thinking about you. Now, this carries more weight. Why? Because there's a foundation. His thoughts aren't just about the physical. They're about you as a whole person. Context is everything. Here's the empowering piece. When you hear this line, don't just melt, observe. Notice what happens next. Does he follow that thought with effort? Does he plan dates, call you, check in, want to know about your day? Or does he simply send that message as bait, hoping it will pull you back into his orbit without any real investment? Because a man who truly can't stop thinking about you will show it in more than words. His actions will align with his confession. He'll make time for you. He'll want to integrate you into his life. He won't just think about you at midnight. He'll think about you at noon, and he'll prove it by showing up consistently. Here's a little secret. Men often use this line because they know how irresistible it is. It's the verbal equivalent of a kiss on the neck. Soft, lingering, suggestive. It makes you lean in. It makes you feel chosen. And there's power in that. But your power lies in remembering that words without action are just smoke. They feel warm in the moment, but they vanish if there's no substance behind them. So the next time a man tells you, I can't stop thinking about you, enjoy the compliment, but don't crown him king of romance just yet. Let his behavior prove whether his thoughts are fleeting sparks of desire or the steady flame of real interest. Ladies, this one is smooth. Out of all the lines a man can drop when he's feeling that pull toward you, I don't want this night to end is probably the most romantic sounding of them all. It's the line that feels like a scene out of a movie. The music softens, the city lights twinkle, and he looks at you like you're the only woman in the world. And in that moment, you feel like he's not just after a night, he's after forever. But let's decode it. When a man says, I don't want this night to end, what he's really doing is opening the door. It's an invitation, sometimes direct, sometimes subtle, for the evening to stretch just a little bit longer. Translation, I want more time with you, ideally in a way that leads to more intimacy. Now, does that mean it's always about sex? Not necessarily. Sometimes, yes, it's about extending the date into the bedroom, but sometimes it's simply about prolonging the connection, the chemistry, the high of being with you. Either way, you need to know which one it is. Let's look at a couple of scenarios. Scenario one, scene, you've been out to dinner. The drinks have flowed. The conversation has been charged with flirtation. And as he walks you to your car, he says, softly, I don't want this night to end by. What does that mean? It means he wants more. Maybe a nightcap at his place. Maybe an invitation upstairs to yours. The line is designed to create an opportunity. He's not ready to say goodbye because in his mind, the best part of the night hasn't happened yet. Scenario two, yeah, you've spent the day together, laughing, talking, genuinely enjoying each other. And as it gets late, he says, I don't want this night to end. In this context, it might not be about rushing into bed. It might be his way of expressing that he feels truly connected to you, that he's savoring the energy between you and doesn't want to let it go just yet. The difference. Intention. Some men use this line as a romantic cloak for lust. Others use it because they're genuinely caught up in the magic of the moment. And the only way to know which is which, to look at the pattern of his actions. Here's where you need to be smart. This phrase is intoxicating. It makes you feel chosen, desired, valued. But don't confuse, I don't want this night to end, with I don't want us to end. One is about a fleeting evening. The other is about commitment. One is temporary. The other is lasting. Don't mistake a man's desire to extend the night for his desire to extend his future with you. So what do you do when you hear this line? First, enjoy it. It's sweet, it's flattering, and let's be honest, it feels amazing to know a man is so caught up in you that he wants more time. But second, check in with yourself. Do you want the night to continue? If yes, own that decision. If no, smile, thank him for an amazing evening, and set that boundary without guilt. Because here's the truth. It's not about whether he wants the night to end. It's about whether you do. And here's the final layer of power. A man who truly values you won't just want to extend a night. He'll want to extend a series of nights. He'll want to see you again, plan, invest, and build. If he only says, I don't want this night to end, when passion is running high but disappears when the sun rises, that's not romance, that's convenience. Ladies, let's take a moment to step back. Over the last few minutes, we've talked about the things a man will say when he wants to sleep with you. You should come over. We don't have to do anything. I just want to be close to you. I can't stop thinking about you. And I don't want this night to end. All of them sound flattering, romantic, even sweet. But now, you know how to hear them differently. You know how to recognize when his words are about desire, not devotion. And that awareness, that's your power. Because here's the truth, it's not wrong for a man to want you. Attraction is natural, chemistry is exciting, intimacy is beautiful. The only real danger is when you confuse temporary desire for permanent intention. That's where women get hurt, not because men are bad, but because they didn't listen between the lines. So from this moment forward, I want you to own your standards. If a man says these words, pause. Ask yourself, what do I want? What feels right for me? And then respond from that place of confidence, not pressure. Remember this, you're not the one waiting to be chosen. You're the one doing the choosing. You're not the prize for his night. You're the prize for his life. So the next time you hear these lines, smile, stay playful, but never forget you hold the power. And that, my love, is the sexiest thing of all.